Hey guys, this is Tara with Teaching on Lemon Lane, and this is a quick walkthrough of how to complete the poetry and art project that I like to call Harvest Moon. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we jump in, let's go ahead and look at a couple different examples of what this art project can look like when you are done with it. So you'll notice that each one of these pieces that's creating a silhouette is actually a silhouette that I've single clicked on, and moved on to kind of like my artboard is what we'll call this for now. So let's look at some of the different options. You'll see this one is an option to kind of create a lake effect. So we're using that negative space there. Again, we've got a horizon that we've created in here, the different grasses to create that effect. We've got the moon. This is another fun one. When we're done with this project, we're actually going to create a Sinequin poem, which simply follows this template. So you'll notice one word, and it's actually the syllables that we're going to be paying attention to. Two words, 1, 2, 3, and then it's actually syllable count that we'll be using, and then we come back to this one. So let's go ahead and jump in. This is the page that you're going to be using that we will be creating on. So what we're going to do is that we are going to single click on these different clip arts and we're going to drag and drop them. So let's go ahead and get started. You'll notice this page down here, this is what we want to kind of connect to kind of give it the look of, we want to add some texture to that. So let's go ahead and single click. I drag and I drop. Now notice it's not long enough. So what I'm going to do, instead of grabbing this middle space and pulling it out, notice that that stretches things, and that becomes more apparent with clip art like this. So as I single click, I drag and I drop. If I click on the middle blue square and I drag it this way, the image becomes really distorted, and we don't want that to happen. One way that we can prevent that is by holding down the shift button when we drag, drop, and resize. Another way to do that is to always grab from the corners. So I grab from the corners when I want to make it bigger or smaller, and that will prevent our images from becoming distorted. So I need to make this one bigger, and I had already grabbed from there. So I'm going to grab from the corner, and I'm going to carefully resize it to my page. And now let's create some more kind of different textures and interest. I've got some fun sunflowers. I single click, I drag and I drop, and maybe I want to create like a field of sunflowers. In order to do that, I'm going to, it's command copy on mine. It may be control copy on yours. So I control copy and then I paste. Another way to do that when I paste is control V or command V. One way for you to paste is to come up here and you can click on the image that you want, and then you would go edit, copy. So it just copied it and it's on our clipboard, and then edit, paste, and notice that it just pasted another one. So I'm going to do that again, edit, paste. So I created kind of this look of a sunflower field. You'll notice I kind of have this edge here of this empty space that I want to go ahead and fill. So one thing that I could do is double click on the clip art, and then these are my crop tools. So I could actually crop this sunflower to where I can actually line it up directly on that edge to kind of fill in that negative space there. Now I've already added my ducks. I'm going to grab from the corner and make them a little bit bigger. Maybe I want to grab a moon. I single click, I drag and I drop. I grab from the corner and I can make that larger. I'm going to place that up there. This is another example of where we could use the crop tool to get it to fit our page a little bit better. Notice that one distorted it, so I'm going to click undo and I'm going to try again. There we go. This one's cropping the moon, so now I can actually fit it all the way up to the corner. I can make it larger. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my geese in front. Let's say that these ducks were behind and I wanted them in front of the moon. The way that you change your layers is right here. So this is telling me the order of them. If they were behind it and I wanted them to be in front of the moon, I would go arrange order and I would say bring to front, just like that. So again, simply the way that we create these different looks are just by single clicking, we drag and we drop, and then we use these corners to kind of make things a little bit bigger. And I want to create, what makes things interesting is by using that white space. If I connect these too much, we kind of lose a bit of the interest there. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. and we'll say that I'm good. Now what I want to do is I'm going to create a sunset, and I'm going to do that digitally. And the way that we do that is we click up here on this button. So it says click here to edit the background. I single click on that. And then I come to this paint bucket tool or the fill color. And what we could start with is simply just pick one color and it automatically fills it in. But the way that we can make this really interesting is actually by creating a custom color. But before you click here on this custom color, I want you to click on gradient. So here's gradient. Now notice these are different gradient colors that I've already created, but I want you to try and create your own. So what we're going to do in order to create our own custom color as a gradient is that, again, we're going to click on here to where it shows gradient underlined. Then we're going to hit the plus button, and now we can start. So what these little stops are, these are called gradient stops. And if I have gradient stops on here, I can remove some, I can add them, but essentially it shows how many colors you can have on this kind of custom sunset that we're creating. I would have at least 3 colors. So in order to have 3 colors, I need 1, 2, 3 gradient stops. Let's go ahead and add a 4th. Now notice I can single click and I can drag, and notice what happens when I move it. It shows how things kind of fade into each other. So in order to change the color, I simply click on the gradient stop that I'm working with, and then I can come in here and I can add these different colors. So maybe we start with a blue, and then maybe it starts to fade into a yellow. We can go really bright if we wanted to. And then this one fades into a beautiful orange, and it ends up with a really bright purple. Okay, now let's say that I want more purple. If I do, I'm going to bring this up a little bit closer. And notice how that changes how everything kind of fades into each other. The other thing that you can do is you could make it a radial. And by coming over here, you can decide where it kind of starts or where it ends. And that just gives us kind of a different look. We can go back to the linear and we can change the different angles that it's coming at as well. So this is a fun way to kind of just mess around and decide the look of what you're going for with your sunset. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I think I want the 90 degree. I'm going to keep it at the 90 degree. I'm happy with the amount of stops that I have. If I didn't like one of these, if I wanted to remove it, I would simply just click remove, and then it just kind of fades into it. I go ahead and I click OK, and it automatically inserts that into our backdrop, and we've created this beautiful silhouette sunset art. Another option that you have is to actually print out your silhouette and then kind of do a hybrid art project where you would watercolor this or use crayons to create kind of that sunset look. So it's kind of a mixed media approach. So if you want to do that, what we would do is we would actually delete this text here. So I just grab everything here and I simply click delete. And I would also get rid of the moon. I would suggest maybe printing the moon separately and gluing that on top once you've done your painted silhouette first. So what we would do is we would print this out, and the way that we print from Google Slides is we would go File, Print, and then we would print the page that we are working on, and then we can add our different watercolors. Just being careful with the black so that we still have those really beautiful silhouettes with that contrast. You could glue the moon on top of it if you wanted, or you could create your own moon. But that would just be a really fun art project that you could actually print out and display and kind of enjoy that way. Finally, the last thing that we have are these poetry options. So with this one, this is our brainstorm page. We go through here and we just start brainstorming different nouns that have to do with fall. On this list, we simply just type here, and then when you hit enter, it'll give you another button or another bullet point. And so we just go through and we add all of the different verbs and the different adverbs. And this brainstorming page is going to help you when you come to write your own Sinequin poem. So notice this first word is a noun and it needs to be 2 syllables. And then our second line of the poem is going to be 2 adjectives, which equal 4 syllables. So that might mean that you have 1 syllable here, 3 syllables here, but we still get that 4 syllable count here. So 2 syllable, 2 syllable, 1 syllable, 3 syllable, whatever you need to do to get those 4 syllables. The next one is our adverb or verbs, and you notice down here that this line will equal 6 syllables, and then it moves on to 8, and then we come back up to our one word that kind of just sums everything up. So an example of that poem is right up here. Let's look at this. So this one is called The Dance. So autumn, notice that's 2 syllables. I like to clap them out. Autumn. And now we have our 4 syllables. Rusty, crunchy. And now we have our 6. Falling, changing, twirling. This line is 8. Like dancing to a gentle waltz. And then that last word that sums everything up is harvest. So again, that's how you write these Sinequin poems that are very visual and sensory and just kind of a beautiful way to wrap up this art project that you've created that you could display with it. If you'd like to write on these instead of having them printed, we could simply just come up here. We could get rid of this title, or you could type the title in here. You could even add your final poem here and print it to where everything's text. But essentially, those are kind of your different options for this project. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much, guys.